So before proceeding, let's have a quick overview what we have done last class. We were discussing about arrays. We saw how to declare array, how to assign the values to array, and how to display values from array, and small manipulations taking the array into account. We saw, like for example, how to get the maximum value out of an array, and then how to make it ascending, descending, and display it. So whatever last class we discussed, that is about single dimensional array, right? When we say single dimensional array, it is like one column but multiple rows. So let me open Excel sheet and contrast what is single dimension versus two-dimensional array. Still, we can say we are learning basics of C# only. We can say the feature which is actual object-oriented feature of C#, where we can say we are starting C#. We have not yet gone to that. So you can say these are all prerequisites, before learning C#. Basic stuff, like those people who have already idea of C language or any other language, you don't need to learn this, because same thing applicable in all the languages. But when we go to object-oriented programming, after this, we can say actual C# special feature we are going to start. So two-dimension, when we say, it is like something like this. If this become a single dimensional array, I just highlighted with yellow, and I can say I have some 7 different elements in this. If it is 7, then your index starts from 0 and goes up to 6, like this. So this is array name, ARR, or if you want to store names, then names. And these are all indexes. And whatever you are storing inside that is called elements of array, like whatever. Suppose I stored first Amit, then I said Sunil, and so on. So this we already know, and we are able to manipulate as well. But when you use more than one column, something like this, okay, this is called one two-dimensional array. Same array concept, but multiple columns. So that time it comes row number 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Similarly, column number also 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that. Okay, if you want to consider only 4 rows, then I will delete this. So I can say now this is having 4 rows and 3 columns. Can I say that? 4 rows and 3 columns. Easily you can say that. So if it is so, then its index, what do you say, row index and column index, they combined together will decide what is the address of this cell or index of this cell. Suppose this one, green color one. Then I will say 0, 0. Why so? Because it is 0th row and 0th column. Similarly, any one cell you consider, suppose second one, this one, where my cursor is available, 0, 1, because it is falling under 0th row and 1 column. If you know Excel sheet, then you can easily understand this cross section also. Like for example, suppose I click the cursor here in Excel sheet, you will say this is C column and 15th row. C column and 15th row. But in Excel sheet, we name it as column, comma, row. But here in array, we name it as row, comma, column. So here we can say it is 0th row and 2 column. This is 1 row and 0 column, and so on. So the index of each cell inside that two-dimensional array, you will consider as cross-section of row number, comma, column number. So if it will go this way, and if I'll ask you what will be the index of extremely last row, last cell, which I have made with some blue color. So you must say this is row number 3 and column number 2. Don't you think so? So that means if you see one row, that row number is constant, and across the column number is varying. You can see 0, 0 and 0. First row, I'm giving red color. Have a look. In entire first row, the cells are like this: 0, 0, 0, 1 and 0, 2. If it is so, that means I can say across the row number is constant and column number is varying 0, 1, 2. Similarly, across the second row, again, you can say row number is 1, but the column number is varying 0, 1, 2. So if you consider loop, because single dimensional array also, to accept the data, you are using loop. Similarly, for two-dimensional array, you want to accept the data, you have to use double. That means nested loop, one loop inside another. Okay, so I gave 4 different colors for 4 different rows, assuming that across this red color, the row number 0 will be constant. When column number 0, 1, 2 will be over, then again the row number will be changed to 1. Then 1 will be constant, and it will be increasing column number to 0, 1, 2, and so on. So here it will be 2, 0, 2, 1, and 2, 2. So idea is, whenever I want to keep the data in row cross section with column, then I should go for two-dimensional array. So it will be 3, 0, 3, 1, and 3, 2. All right. I gave different color to identify that across this row, my number 0 is constant and column number is varying. Similarly, after this row, when we will go to second row, again row number 1 will be constant and column number will be varying. Now you remember nested loop. In nested loop also, we are doing almost something similar to that. Like integer I, suppose 0 was constant across j, that means I less than 4, I plus plus. We will go to Visual Studio, but before that, let's completely understand how this row and columns behaving, row number and column number is behaving. So 0 to less than 4, I plus plus, that means I will vary 0, then 1, then 2, just like row number. Similarly, here suppose your curly bracket starts, here curly bracket ends, then in your second loop, that means nested loop, say this one, again your j is starting from 0, you can say this is like column number, and j this time goes up to less than 3 because there are 3 columns, and j plus plus. So why I made I less than 4 and j less than 3? Because my row number is up to 4 numbers and column number is up to 3 numbers. So 0, 1, 2, here 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 rows means last index will be 3. 3 columns means last index will be 2. So less than 4 and less than 3 means 4 rows and 3 columns. So inside loop is something like this. That means this is my inner loop. Okay, I can say this is my inner loop and this is my outer loop. So if I'm saying this is my outer loop, then I can say this is my inner loop. So I can say this blue color loop is nested inside this yellow color loop. That means if this yellow color took some I equal to 0 and came inside, now that I equal to 0 will be constant across. J will be 0 and J will be 1 and J will be 2. Now here where my cursor is available, let me give this as little different color, suppose red color. So if my compiler is coming to this red color, and it is asking what is the current value of I and J, when first time compiler came here, I must say I value will be definitely 0 and that time J value will be also definitely 0. Let me give little light color so that you can see that value also. Suppose this is the one. I is 0 and J is 0 when first time loop executed from top to bottom like this. So if I is 0 and J is 0, and I will say I comma J is my current address of the cell, then it will indicate to 0 comma 0. That means 0th row and 0th column. Similarly, I value will be constant and J value will be varying from 0 to 1. That means here it will be I as 0 and J as 1. That means second time inner loop executed, that time I value is still 0, but J value is 1. I value will be still 0, J value will be 2. I value will be still 0, J value will be 3, but unfortunately J value 3 will not be there because we have up to 3 columns only. So like that, if I will say this is my address of the cell, I comma J, then absolutely it is matching with the indexes of your array. 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2. Here also I0, J1, I0, J0, I0, J1, I0, J2. That means perfectly this nested loop is matching with our index logic. What do you mean by index logic? The way index is increasing. So instead of saying simply I equal to 0, J equal to 1, if I will say console.readline, same loop, it will accept the data and store in the array. If I'll say console.writeLine, it will display the array. So let's now go to Visual Studio. What we understood how these indexes are varying 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2, again 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 2. By providing this loop, nested loop one inside another, whether we are able to fulfill this requirement. So our requirement is enter some 12 data inside it. Why 12 data? Because 4 rows and 3 columns. Similarly, if it will be 3 row, 3 column, it will be 9 data. If it will be 2 row, 2 column, it will be 4 data, and so on. So in our example, what we take here, there are 4 rows and 3 columns. That's why total there will be 12 data entered into this. Again, depends upon the data type. Suppose my data type is integer, I can go for something like marks. If my data type is string, I can go for something like names. If my data type salary, I can go for something like decimal. So depending upon your kind of the data you are going to store, you have to take the data type. So the declaration of the array will be something like this. integer. Suppose it is marks, then I will say integer, square bracket. But this time the square bracket will have a comma. Okay. Just to declare this discussed array, if you want to declare it int, because I want numeric value to store. If it is decimal, decimal. But inside that square bracket, you have to put a comma. Previously in single dimension, you remember we don't put any comma and all, just square bracket equal to new integer of some element. But this time, this comma indicates there are two dimensions. Dimension 1, comma, dimension 2. Means length, comma, width. Row, comma, column, whatever it is. Somebody may consider it as length, comma, width, or you consider it as row numbers, comma, column numbers, whatever it is. So, but that comma is required. After that, you have to say equal to symbol as usual. Then new integer again. In this square bracket, right hand side square bracket, previously you were giving 4 or 5 or 7, something like that, right? Here you have to give 4, comma 3. Why 4, comma 3? Because first position indicates row numbers, second position indicates column numbers. Then you have to put semicolon. That means you declared the array which is having 4 rows and 3 columns. The moment you declare this, automatically 12 elements will be booked inside your random access memory. Each of integer. One integer takes 4 bytes. So 12 into 4 equal to 48. So 48 bytes it will reserve, and it will allocate the indexes 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 2, and so on. So this is the understanding of the skeletal structure of a two-dimensional array. Now let's go for some name, because I didn't give name here. I want to say here marks is that integer value. Then I will say marks. If I will say salary is that integer value, then I will say salary. Okay. If I will say year of birth, then year of birth. It's okay. So whatever data, whatever information you want to store in that particular array, you have to name accordingly. So I said marks, assuming I don't allow decimal marks like 90.57, etc. I want to allow 90, I want to allow 91, but not 91.5. So I took integer. If by chance you say I will allow 90.5, 92.7, then instead of integer you have to take decimal, that you already know in single dimension array also. So you have to conceptualize what I'm giving the diagram in the Excel sheet. Because you never see that random access memory, right? I will not open the computer and show you that, see here it is available called random access memory. You have to conceptualize. There is something called random access memory. Inside that random access memory, it is storing the data like this, and it is allocating the indexes, something like this. Index means you can say indirectly location address or so. Not that hexadecimal address I'm talking. Serial number kind of thing you can consider. 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2, and so on. So using nested loop, easily we can solve this task. What is the task? Take 12 data from user and store it. Whatever you stored, fetch and display it. This is very simplest form of using one two-dimensional array. After that, we will think for complicacy. First, accept some 12 data because it is capable of entering 12 data. Then display those 12 data. How to do that? So declare two-dimensional array, accept value to two-dimensional array, display value from one two-dimensional array. This is what first level will go. So let's create a new project. there must be some question mark in mind. When we will implement it and debug it based on the compiler's progress, easily you can come to know whatever doubt there in your mind. It will be clarified. Then I will allow you to ask question, if any. So let's create a program named as using, I will write the short form, two-dimensional as 2D array. And location, you want to store in October 2020. There is a folder, and create it. Those who are newcomers, for them, when you say file new, that time you get one create option. On click of create, it will ask whether .NET Core or .NET Framework or what. I selected .NET Core and then proceeded. Then it asked me what is the name of the project, and I gave the name of the project as using underscore 2D array. So now here you come and define a function like static void. Suppose your name of the function is array underscore 2D underscore 1. That means first program in two-dimensional array. This is just notation I'm using. First program in two-dimensional array. So I named it as array underscore 2 underscore 1. So first is declaring that this hello world I'm deleting. Rather, I'm calling this name of the function here. And inside this function, I'm going to write the program. So question, always I used to tell you to write a summary block before the function, so that somebody is coming here means he will understand what exactly this function is going to do. So what this function is going to do, it is going to accept a two-dimensional array of say 4 rows and 3 columns, display entered values in a matrix format. The format of that rows and columns, it is also called matrix, guys. Those who are engineering student, it must be knowing what is matrix. Those who are non-engineering student, for them, a two-dimensional array, the way we display or way we store this format of rows and columns, technically we say as a matrix also. Matrix format means data representation in the form of rows and columns. So 3 times I press that slash, okay, summary block came. Inside that summary block, I wrote the question. That means what this program is going to do. Okay, so that whenever anybody is coming to your program, first he will see what is this program is going to do. No doubt nowadays we are going to do small programs. That's why somebody without summary also can understand. But usually we give it. Reason is, in real-time project, chances that this function might be having 200 lines, 100 lines, 300 lines. So that time it will be easier for user to understand that without reading entire program, he can come to know what about this function, what exactly this function is going to do for me. So that's why you should have this summary. Not only two-dimensional array, any program you make in future, just before the function, try to write 1 or 2 line summary about it. So first is accept the two-dimensional array. But before accepting, you have to declare it, isn't it? Any variable you are using or any array you are using, you need to declare it before using it. So I will name it as integer. I assume that going to store marks, square bracket with comma, because 2 dimension name of the array is marks because I want to store some marks, equal to new because I want to allocate the memory, integer because each element will be integer, square bracket with a comma because I want 2 dimension, before comma row numbers, after comma column numbers, semicolon. Okay, so each and every thing that we are mentioning, you must understand why you are mentioning. Then, so this is called declaring the 2-dimensional array. Declaring 2D array. That means allocating the memory inside the random access memory for 2-dimensional structure like 4 rows and 3 columns. But values has not been given. If values has not been given, suppose this is the line in my program, nothing else. Suppose this is the only line in my program, nothing else. Then what will happen, you think? It will allocate some 12 into 4 memory space because each integer is 4 byte. And not only that, it will allocate memory as well as each cell, it will give 0, 0, 0, 0. That means as of now, perhaps this is ready, little coming down, 4 rows, 3 columns. I declared it, but I have not yet entered the value. That means all will be 0, 0, 0, 0. This is called value. Value is 0, 0, 0, but index is 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3, and so on. So if you don't want to do anything else, just put a breakpoint and see. You will see in 0, 0, in 0, 1, in 0, 2, all the values will be 0 only. So values are 0, 0, 0, but indexes are like this. Okay. Or if you want to keep it nearby so that you can compare it, you keep it here. So this left side one indicating what is the index of each position, and right side one indicating if those are all indexes, then what is the value as of now, 0, 0, 0 as of now. Then I will go for accepting. That means I will ask user to enter. So console.writeLine. If 4 rows, 3 columns, total how many values? 12 values. So I will ask user, please enter 12 numbers or 12 marks, something like that. Okay. Or 12 numeric values. Whatever hint you can give to user, that's better. I mention numeric value so that a user will understand that ABCD should not be entered. 1, 2, 3, 4 should be entered. So please enter 12 numeric value for marks or various marks. So your sentence should be user friendly so that user will understand that, okay, there are 12 subject maybe, and I'm going to enter marks for them. Now comes the loop concept because it's a repetition logic. 12 times I'm going to repeat same thing to take the value, store it, take the value, store it, take the value, store it. So I have to go for that nested loop, what we just now discussed, loop inside loop. I will vary row numbers, J will vary column numbers. Very simple. So come here and say for how many rows? 4 rows. If it is 4, then 0 to 3. So I equal to, or integer I equal to 0, I less than 4, and I plus plus. When I say less than 4, it is understood that it will go up to 3. When it is less than 3, it will go up to 2. So for integer j equal to 0, j less than 3 because 3 columns, j plus plus. So 4 rows and 3 columns. That is what I did there, what we discussed here. Now inside this, should I write console.writeLine or should I write console.readLine? That matters. if it is accepting the data, that means you are asking user to enter, then of course console.readline. If it is displaying the data, then console.writeline. So first I will say max of I comma j, max of I comma j equal to console.readline. But console.readline will take the string kind, so convert that to integer, because this time we are using integer array of console.readline. Okay. Whatever doubt is coming in mind, you can keep it in mind. I will finish the program, debug it once. I will show you how compiler is moving, what it is doing, etc. More than 50% doubt will be clear after debugging. Still, if you have something, then you can ask me to clarify it. So, nested for took the data from user every time. Since for inside for, so 4 into 3 equal to 12 times this loop is going to execute all over. And every time the I and j value will be vary like 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3, like that. So this become accepting the data. Then comes displaying the data. So once more I will copy paste it. Then instead of console.readline, I will use console.write or console.writeline. So let me write here console. This is just one heading I am giving before the loop. Entered values in 4 by 3 matrix format is, okay. See what sentence I wrote. I entered 12 value, but those 12 value has been stored in random access memory, but I want to fetch them and display in 4 by 3 matrix format. It is written as 4x3, but it is read as 4 by 3. So 4 rows, 3 columns matrix format. Then what to do? If you want to give a line break, you give /n at the beginning. So console.writeline now. If I will say console.writeline, what will happen? All the numbers will be in new line. Suppose max of I comma j, then you will see all the numbers will be new line. That means 12 values in a single column. I'm not happy because I want rows and columns format. So I will go for a write. Little bit we have discussed last class as well in single dimensional format. If I will say write in same line, if I will say write line, every number will be different line. So even write also I'm not happy because this is going to give me all the numbers in the same line. If I'll say /t, it will be tab space second number, tab space third number. Let's run it and see what happens if I'll do either write or if I'll do either write line. Okay. Then we will understand when exactly I should break the line. So I'm not debugging this time. I'm just executing directly. But I should use console.read key so that I can see the output. So let me use that console.read key as well. I stopped it and here I'm using console.read key so that it will stop for you to see the output. Just have a look what it will do. All the numbers, whatever I entered, suppose I entered 1, 2, 3, 56, 32, 98, 12, 7, 8, 34. Like that, some 12 numbers you are going to enter. But see, when I'm using write, W-R-I-T-E, it displays all the numbers in same line. When I'm saying write line, it is displaying no problem. but it will display all in new lines. That means our requirement is not even matching with right, not even matching with right line. Have a look. We don't want either this or previous one because we want matrix format. Matrix format means the way we display it here in the Excel sheet, rows and columns. It may be something like this: 12 first number, 7 second number, 90 third number. Like this, it should come as per the sequence of the numbers we entered. So how to get this format is, if you see here, I want 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3 in straight line. 4, 5, 6 again in another straight line, but second row. 7, 8, 9 again in one row. That means when inner loop is going to complete the work, till then I will be displaying them in the same line. But the moment that inner loop completed the work and coming outside somewhere here where my cursor is blinking, that time I will make it console.write line so that it will be breaking the line. So write line, open bracket, close bracket, and semicolon. That means idea is take I as 0, that means 0th row, go inside the inner loop, display 3 values, first value, second value, third value. Till then, don't break the line. That means here it should be right instead of right line. When 3 values has been displayed, that means inner loop has been completed. Okay. Then the moment it's coming out, I don't want the cursor to continue in the same line. I want to take that cursor down. So I wrote console.write line. That means it will take the cursor down. Then it will go and increase the value of high from 0 to 1. All right. Then for 1, again it will come inside and loop. First value, second value, third value. The moment again first, second, third of second row has been displayed, it will come down and break the line. So simply console.write line without mentioning anything in the bracket, it can be used for breaking the line from first to second, second to third, third to fourth, etc. So just put a breakpoint here now. Now you see how it is going to do the operation. Here also you can put the breakpoint and see how it is going to arrange my numbers in a matrix format. Suppose I entered any numbers like this. See carefully this debugging one. This is going to clarify all your doubts, if any. As of now, I have just entered the values, but I have not yet fetched and displayed. First it came to outer loop, I become 0. Then it checked. You just mark that yellow color background. That is the position of compiler where it is going and executing the program. So it checked, is I less than 4? Answer is true. Because I is 0 and really 0 is less than 4. Then it allowed me inside. Okay, this is the real-time use of understanding and learning loops, guys. So now I said, take J also 0. Because I is my row number, J is my column number. Then it says, no problem. I came inside, taking I as 0, J as 0. That means max of I comma 0, J means what? Max of 0 comma 0. And max of 0 comma 0 means what? This particular color where I'm having my cursor. So there it is going and going to fetch the data and display. So whatever data, in my Excel sheet case, it is 12. Information is 12. But in my actual here, yes, here also I have entered 12 only. That means it will fetch that 12 and display because it's console.write line. and it will take the cursor down or take the cursor in the same line. It will keep the cursor in the same line because it's not console.write line, it is console.write. Have a look. 12 it displayed. That means 0,0 value fetched and displayed. And it didn't take that cursor down. It kept that cursor in the same line. You can see that cursor is blinking here. Now F10 means next position compiler jumps here. J becomes 1. And it checks that J is 1. Is it really less than 3? Answer is yes, true. 1 is also less than 3. So it will go inside. Did I change the value of I? No. I is still 0 because I have not completed inner loop. So I is still 0, but J become 1. So max of I comma J means max of 0 comma 1. Max of 0 comma 1 means you can see this particular position. I'm giving white color to this. Okay. So whichever value entered, I'm giving white color, suppose. So first value 12 was present in this. Second value, whatever it was present in 0, 1. So 0, 1 value I fetched and displayed already. Not yet displayed. I have to press F12. So F10, it will fetch and display that console.write. So have a look. Parallelly see the output window. Where it will break the line, you see. It is still in the same line. Then again F10 means cursor went to J as 2, but I is still 0. I is still 0, J become 2. That means I comma J means 0, 2. And 0, 2 means this red color position. I will make it now white. 0, 2. That means 44 in our case. It will come and display. Let's see whether it is doing that. So next line means F10, F10, F10. So I'm going to F10 and seeing the output window. It is displaying 44. But cursor is still in the same line. It has not yet come down. When it is coming down, have a look. I pressed again F10. Then it cross-checked what is my new value. Now new value becomes 3. J new value becomes 3, which is not really less than 3. That means it will say it is false. That means it will not allow me to go inside the loop. Have a look. It came outside the inner loop. Inner loop is between line number 35 to line number 38. It has done its work when I equal to 0. It has done its work when I equal to 0. Then it came out and say console.write line. Console.write line indicates take the cursor down. As of now, it is in the same line. You can see. Cursor is blinking in the same line. But the moment I press F10, that means console.write line executed. Just have a look in the output window. Can you see? That cursor which was blinking in the same line, now it came down. That means second row it came down. Then what it will do? If you will further press F10, it will go to upper loop because inner loop has been finished its work. Now I become I++. Previously it was 0. Now it become 1. So when I equal to 1, your end condition will say, yes, it is true. You can go inside. It came inside again. So when I become 1, your J is again varying from 0, then 1, then 2, and so on. So I is 1, J is 0. Have a look. Now I is 1, J is again 0. Next time I will be 1, J will be 1. Next time I will be 1, J will be 2. And so on. So J0, J1, and J2. When J become 3, again it came down. As of now, my cursor might be blinking in the second row same line. But the moment console.write line will be executed, the cursor will come down to third row. And so on. So When I will be again 2, j will be 0, 1, 2, and then break the line. When I will be 3, now j will be 0, 1, 2 again, and then break the line. Now I will be 4. Till then, already 4 records has been displayed. It will take I as 4 because I plus plus. 3 plus 1, 4. But unfortunately, 4 is not less than 4. So it will say false. And it will not allow me to go inside. Simply, it will come outside both the loops and, closing curly bracket of the function. Now I displayed all my entered numbers in a 4 by 3 format. What do you mean? 4 rows and 3 columns format. So in matrix, first we write row number, then we write column number. Matrix and array both are same. Okay. So matrix is usually technical terminology, but layman's word is array. So it is a 4 by 3 array or 4 by 3 matrix. So output is in front of you. Your program is in front of you. Whichever line number, if you got the doubt, if any, just raise your hand and tell me the line number. I will be, or overall concept or line number, wherever you have any bit of doubt, how it is solving our work and all. You can ask me if any. Anybody raise the hand? No one. So everybody understood the concept, guys?
Excuse me. I understand everything, but can you please dive a little bit deeper? Like in real life situation, the first number and the second number, what does that exactly?
Usually, I will tell you. I understood your question. See, usually, sometimes your data, what you want to store in random access memory, it may not be in the same column. Imagine these are all section number 1, let's say 4 students marks. These are all perhaps section number 2, 4 students marks. These are all section number 3, some 4 students marks. Okay, when we will go to data manipulation in future, in real-time case, sometimes you may segregate all 12 numbers into different columns. Okay, like in Excel, they could have given one column only, right? Why they are giving A column, B column, C column, D column? Just think about Excel sheet. Why didn't they be happy just be giving one column like this? If your Excel sheet could be looking like this, just have a look to this Excel sheet. Imagine Microsoft might have given you one Excel sheet with this kind of facility. What kind of problem you might have faced? Just for a minute you think Microsoft gave the Excel, but it gave like this, only one column across the sheet. So where else in future you could have faced the problem, you tell me? Whenever you want to segregate the data into columns, don't you think? You want to separate, bunch of data in one column, different bunch of data in another column. Don't you think so?
Yeah, I got you.
Exactly same purpose. So in future also, you will say Excel is what actually? Excel is also a database. Okay. Currently, we are at the beginning level. That's why we are going for small data items. First, we understood single row with single column. That is called a variable. Single row with single column. That is called a variable. This is just a variable, you can say, which is having single row and single column. Then your requirement become little bit more. You said, I'm not happy with single data. I want some multiple data. Then you went for this. because your requirement become multiple data. This is called single dimensional array. First one is called variable. When your requirement is just a single data. I asked your name, you gave me your name. That's it. I didn't ask you, tell me your name, your brother's name, your father's name, etc. I didn't ask. Then you are happy with variable. But I asked, no, I want all your family members' name. Then you said, then I'm not happy with single variable. I should go for one array. So if this is variable, which is fulfilling your just one data, then this is one 1D array, means single dimensional array, which will fulfill at least your family member's name. I can say that. Then you are not happy further. You are saying, just my family members is not enough. I want my family members as well as my friends' family members. So this become your family member's name. Which one? First column. And second column become your friends' family member's name. Don't you think so? You needed 2 columns. That's what Excel sheet all about. So if you can compare easily one simple cell versus multiple cells in a single column versus multiple cells across multiple columns, then easily you can contrast variable versus 1D array and 1D array versus 2D array. All right. This is not all actually. Still we have something missing. You know what is missing here? If first column is storing integer, second column is also storing integer this time. Don't you think? That is still something missing in 2-dimensional array. Our next level, after learning 2-dimensional array, our next level will be, I am not happy with only names. I want first column should keep all my family members' name. Second column should keep all their age. Third column should keep all their, date of birth and so on. So this is name means string. This is age means integer. This is date of birth means date and time. Now array is saying, you cannot expect these things from me. I have multiple rows and multiple columns, no doubt. But if you declare it is integer, I will be integer fully. All 3 columns or all 4 columns, whatever it is. If you declare it string, I will be string. If you declare it in decimal, I will be decimal. But now question arises, who is going to solve that problem? You can see slowly we are improving. Variable can store the data, but cannot store multiple data. Single dimensional array can store multiple data definitely, but we cannot group together separate column number or separate column number 2 because it's always single column. 2D array, definitely it can group together. Column 1 you store few data, column 2 store few data and so on, but all those data should have same data type, right? Now next level we have something called database. So going forward there is something called collections, generic collections, then database. So generations are improving slowly. Variable, single dimensional array, 2-dimensional array, collections, generic collections, relational database management systems. Like that, slowly the proceeding, data management proceeding. So in future, whenever you will go for any real-time application, the most principal feature of the real-time application is data management. Take the data, store it somewhere and manage it. Always, any application you think. Most important feature of those applications will be definitely data management. So if we might be 50 years back, then perhaps array might not be there, only variable might be there. Then how can we relate the data? If I'm storing here 67 and here 90, my understanding is perhaps that guy got 67 in one subject and 90 in another subject. Don't you think so? Because they are related information and kept inside a single column. But if you will have 10 different variable, there is nothing relation. Variable 1 is sitting somewhere else, variable 2 is sitting somewhere else. So to manage those data, we want to keep together in one place. But slowly, when generation is increasing, you are getting more and more benefit. So when you will go for collection, after some days we have something called collections. That will be even further better than two-dimensional array. It will say, no worry, if this is your collection, entirely this row can store roll number. Entirely this, column. Entirely this columns can store name, which is string. Entirely this column can store marks. And this can store result also. But array will say, I cannot give you this kind of, facility. If it is roll number, all the cells will be roll number. If it is marks, all the cells inside this array will be marks. So slowly we are progressing towards a relational database management system. So variable, single dimensional array, two-dimensional array, collections, generic collections, and relational database management system. In short form, we say RDBMS. So these are all various stages how our industry or technology has progressed. That's why today we are enjoying something called SQL Server, something called Oracle, But in a single day, they didn't reach up to Oracle or MS SQL Server database management system. Slowly, they progressed like this. So I believe now all of you must have contrasted. Why should I use array even if variable is there? Why should I use two-dimensional array even if single-dimensional array is there? Why should I use collections even if 2D array is there? One step ahead we discussed today. But okay, we have a chapter called collections. There we'll see all the demerits of this two-dimensional array, and that time we'll focus about advantages of collections. So you can say that collection is like one array actually, but some of the drawbacks that array is having will be fixed by collections. Okay, so hope that answers your question. Anybody else? Good. So today we saw just accepting and displaying one two-dimensional array. I will give a homework here. Little twisted way. That means accept and display is must. Accept and display is definitely there. Apart from that, I want a small manipulation. Let me write that program. I will open the same notepad, guys, what we have written short note till last class. Here, HTML below, I'm giving the 2D array. Why not? I will copy paste this stuff in that notepad also, so that you can refer it if that Excel sheet is not there also. This is the way it proceeded. All right, so this is for your understanding. Now come down and write the question as accept a 3x3 array. What do you mean? 3 rows, 3 columns. Okay, you have to understand from the question like this: how many rows and how many. Quickly, it should come to your mind that I will vary 0 to 3, J will vary 0 to 3. Okay, like that you have to tackle this kind of question. So accept a 3x3 array or 3x3 matrix also I can say, no problem. Okay, display the array. Okay, display the matrix or array, whatever, in 3 by 3 format. That is also there. That means what we already did, first part is that only. Second part of this program is also display those data, I mean some of those data in it which is divisible by 3. Okay, let me take divisible by 5. If I'll take 3, you may confuse that 3 row, that's why 3 or something. It is not having any relation. It can be 7 also. So also display some of those data in this array which is divisible by 7. For example, if this is your array, check it, is there any value which is really divisible by 7? Okay, imagine here you have 21. Imagine here you have something called 14. Here you have 7. So indirectly saying, I need sum of this, and this. I don't think any other number is divided by 7. So 7 plus 14 plus 21 as a single line at last, I want sum of all numbers in this array divided by 7 is so and so. Okay. So first part is exactly carbon copy of your existing Visual Studio program, but I already shown you. You simply copy paste this. Only difference is here I have taken 4 by 3. You have to take 3 by 3. Is that clear? Little hint also I am giving because it's your first program in 2D array. So here you have to say 3, 3 instead of 4, 3. Here also less than 3 instead of less than 4, and so on. That means first part is exactly same carbon copy. Second part is finding the sum. That means you have to take a separate variable, sum equal to 0 at the top, and you have to write somewhere the logic, that somewhere you have to find out that sum equal to sum plus marks of I comma j, like that. And finally, extremely below in the program, you have to display sum of numbers divisible by 7 in this array is this much. Okay. Anybody couldn't understand the question? Try it out. If not happening, you can take my help next class. All right. So this is homework for today. We have more scenarios that, some complicated manipulations on array, what array cannot do and collection can do, that also we will see in future. But for today, whatever we covered, I think this is the level you can try. Okay. And if somebody is having more time, you can try transpose of the matrix. Accept 3 by 3 matrix, display the transpose of the matrix. What do you mean? Row will be column, column will be row. Let's see how many of you are able to show this. Transpose, T-R-A-N, transpose. Okay. That means if this is the first row, 12, 7 and 90, my output will be 12, 7 and 90 like this. If second row is 43, 21, 23, then it will be 43, 21 and 23 like this. If it is 0, 0, 0, then it will be 0, 0, 0 like this. You don't need to enter 0, 0, 0. I'm just showing based on this. So first row will be first column, second row will be second column, third row will be third column, like that. Okay. 14, 34 and 0 like that. This is the third column, 14, 34 and 0. last one will be 0, 0, 0. That means if my input is like this, my output should be like this. That is the second question. Try it out. If anybody not able to do, you remind me tomorrow morning. I will discuss on this. Tomorrow means our next class will be Thursday. So Thursday morning, you remind me that I could not do it. Those people who are able to do, you can send me through a notepad how I have told you. Okay. So I will see on Thursday same time, guys.